One more question, and then we'll open it up to the audience. What kind of future would you like to see for, say, psychedelic therapy or legalization? What models, what kind of future, what outcomes would you like to see?
Well, I think there are going to be a couple different futures. Psychedelics are entering or re-entering our culture on a couple different paths. We've been talking about the medical path, right? The therapeutic path. And I think that's the most important. I mean, you've heard this a million times and you know it. We have a mental health crisis. Between the pandemic and social media, we see rates of suicidality going up. We see rates of depression and anxiety. And climate anxiety too is contributing to it. And so we really need some powerful new treatments. And it looks like these may be them. But I think it would be a shame if the medical path is the only one open. There are people who are not struggling with mental health who can benefit enormously and have their lives improved by this. So how are they going to get access to it? Well, there is the underground, and that will continue. I don't think legalization or federal approval will change that. One other path that's opening up is the religious path. There are 3 religions in America that have the constitutional right to use a psychedelic. There are 2 ayahuasca churches, and there is the Native American Church, which has the right to use peyote under the Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993. And there are new churches forming with psychedelic sacraments. Now, some of them are kind of like, I don't know how serious to take them, but a lot of them are quite serious. People exploring psychedelics for spiritual reasons. And I think that there will be a space for this. One of the ironies of this incredibly radical Supreme Court we have, with the really radical jurisprudence around religious freedom that Sam Alito has really pioneered, I think when these new psychedelic churches get to the Supreme Court, he is going to be very hard-pressed to say, no, you're not a serious religion, because he's basically said the government can't say what's legitimate religion, what's not, and the government cannot infringe the practice of religion, and this will be the practice of religion. So it's going to be like an exploding cigar for Sam Alito, and I look forward to that. So that's another path, but then there are people who, what if they want to use them in a creative context? The important point is, I think that these are powerful substances that should not be used casually, and that they need a container. And medicine is one container, and we know how it works, and it creates the proper set and setting, sense of safety. A church is another container that could work, a cultural container. But maybe there's a third one that we haven't created yet. And that's important cultural work to do. But we can learn from the religious container and the medical container. I mean, the religious container tells us that a certain amount of ritual is a really good thing around a drug. Andy Weil has written about this, that people who use all drugs with ritual and a set of rules of the road don't get in trouble the way people who don't. So people who say only drink with other people or only drink with meals, they're much less likely to have an alcoholism problem than people who use alcohol without any ritual around it. So what would be the proper rituals around a completely secular, non-medical use of psychedelics? I think it's a project. I think it's a really important project too.